only happens once a year. Black Friday, the crowds, the sales, the family time. I'm Michelle Meredith with WESH 2 News, and I'll bring you up close and personal coming up.
Holiday spending is picking up as credit card debt reaches new highs. I'm Jackie DeFusco in Washington with how to stay on budget this season.
And big changes are swinging into the Sunshine State as we kick off your work week. We're tracking a polar plunge coming in straight ahead.
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
Oh, the time is here. The sale signs were hung in the windows with care, with dreams of saving big bucks dancing in the shoppers' heads.
Okay, this might sound a little bit like 'twas the night before Christmas, but in reality, it highlights the shopping frenzy that happens every Black Friday. We sent WESH 2's Michelle Meredith to the belly of the beast to experience the thrill.
When the sidewalks at Tanger outlets in Daytona Beach are so full, they're hard to navigate, and the deals seemingly so good, a shopping bag won't do. Time to bring in the carts, and they were everywhere. But still, one cart was not enough for Tiffany Smith. You filled it 3 times.
Yes, this is the 3rd time to the car. So this will be 4th.
Do you think there'll be a 5th and a 6th?
Probably a 5th. I don't know about a 6th. We'll see what my husband says.
There are lines to get into some stores, but in the spirit of the day, Mark Anderson didn't mind.
Have patience, no hurry. The whole day is just about shopping, so you take your time.
According to organizations that track Black Friday numbers, the majority of folks will spend about the same amount they did last year, but 31% plan to spend a little more. Now, the experts say that in terms of spending power, the boomers, the millennials, the Gen X, they have the most, anywhere between $500 to $1,000. And the Gen Zs actually have the least, with about $100 to $300. And the Barnes family, chock full of Gen Zers, gave us an interesting spin on how to make it work.
I look at money in a certain way. You know, you don't want to spend too much of it, but you also want to have fun.
I think I have more than that to spend, truthfully, but I'm cheap.
Does it bother you to have a little less money to spend than the older folks?
No.
Why?
Because I'm young, so my parents pay for everything.
Black Friday is more than running from sale to sale to sale. For many, it's family time. Chris Langford doesn't remember a year when she and her mom didn't hit the Black Friday sales.
She's been doing this my whole life.
Since
I was a little girl. So, 50 years.
And you could never start training too early. Just old enough for their little eyes to open wide enough to spot the sales. In Volusia County, Michelle Meredith, WESH 2 News.
Teach them young how to shop. Many people who had the day off from work and school hit up the Central Florida theme parks. We sent Shopper 2 over the crowds at Disney on the left, and then Universal is over on the right. Both theme parks already have their decorations up, and holiday celebrations are underway.
Oh my goodness, 'tis the season. Others spent their Black Friday at the mall at Millennia in Orlando. WESH 2's Justin Shecker was in Shopper 2 and got a glimpse of the big crowds.
Good afternoon from Chopper 2. We've been flying high above our theme parks. We also checked out the outlets where we saw large crowds with cars parked up on the grass trying to get to those stores. Let's give you a look at the Mall Millennia. There's the beautiful Christmas tree shining bright by the mall's entrance right there next to the Cheesecake Factory. And if we zoom on out, similar scene over here at the Mall Millennia. Be hard-pressed to find a parking spot on this Black Friday afternoon. You know, online shopping has become more popular, but so many families are headed out to the mall on this afternoon to get a head start on their holiday shopping. But you still have some time. There's 26 days left until the Christmas holidays, so you don't necessarily have to deal with these large crowds and the difficulty finding a parking spot when you go out to do your holiday shopping. Reporting from Chopper 2, I'm Justin Shecker, WESH 2 News.
And as you're out and about this weekend, put on an extra sweater because another cold snap is headed our way.
It sure is. Our meteorologist Marquise Mita is warning us about the drop in temperatures and, of course, the timing of it all. Hey, Marquise.
Hello. That drop is all courtesy of our cold front moving across the Sunshine State as we speak, and that's been responsible for some Black Friday rain showers. So you might have needed the umbrella before you head out to go shop today. But after the passage of the frontal boundary, will be significantly colder over the course of the weekend, and then we'll reel in some real Arctic air to start off your work week. So here's a look at where we are for the moment. Showers on our tower cam here in Ocala, where temperatures are back in the middle of the 50s. Rain overhead, and that rain is actually pushing out towards the I-95 corridor as well, where you're back in the upper 50s in Palm Coast, low 60s in Daytona Beach, where we had a few off and on again showers here on Friday afternoon. Here's a look at that frontal boundary, though, pushing across southern Florida, but you see the showers concentrated over the northern and central portions of the state, heavier in the Big Bend area and across the I-10 corridor, but we're dealing with some pretty consistent rain across our westernmost communities. Take a look at Ocala, zooming in nice and tight here. So from Ocala through Salt Springs, you see the shades of green and yellow on our live radar, but we still have some lighter green across I-95 out towards Ormond Beach, and then to the south here inside the metro, Meadow Woods, Lake Hart to your south in Kissimmee. You're still dealing with some lighter rain here just past the 5 o'clock hour. Ultimately, the showers will come to an end later on tonight, and we'll be trending much drier tomorrow, also much cooler. We'll take a look at these temperatures and how they're going to change coming up to start off the weekend in the next 15 minutes.
New details on a cold case surrounding the murder of a father of 12. Orlando police released new video in hopes that it will lead to a tip to catch the killer. Today marks 3 years since DJ Lamar White died. Investigators say that he was walking his dog at the Timber Sound Apartments on Raleigh Street when someone walked up, shot him, and then took off running. The video that you see there is the new piece of evidence. Investigators are calling the person in this video walking at the complex a suspect, but they didn't give us any more information on who that person might be. So if you recognize this individual or you know anything about White's murder, you are asked to call Orlando Police or Crime Line. That number is 1-800-423-TIPS. In Volusia County, deputies are still looking for information in the 2017 shooting death of Bryant Ball. They say the 26-year-old was shot along South Florida Avenue in DeLand after getting into an argument with 2 men. Anyone with information about this cold case should call the sheriff's office or Crime Stoppers. Deputies in Pasco County said they had no choice but to shoot a man after they say he was scaring children with a sword. Deputies say the man swung that sword around children, causing fear across the neighborhood. When they tried to get him to come out of his home, that's when they say that he came out with a shotgun and then refused to drop it. Deputies opened fire. The sheriff says it's clear the man was under the influence. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Fortunately, no one else was hurt.
Hurricanes wreak havoc on our coastlines, and now there is a new push to build a natural line of defense against future storms to stop this from happening again. After Hurricanes Ian and Nicole wrecked the coast, Daytona Beach researchers began looking into ways to make these concrete seawalls more resilient during storms. Researchers at Embry-Riddle and Bethune-Cookman University teamed up and believe that a living seawall is the answer. So instead of it just being a concrete wall like we have now, they'll have a concrete element that'll then be covered in sand, resembling a sand dune.
So while the structural component would prevent large-scale impact on the residential side, we also hope that the green components would prevent erosion of the beach and also help in accumulation of sand dunes.
They were approved for a research grant and soon hope to be awarded another grant to implement their plan. And once complete, the seawalls will look something like those up in Flagler County. Residents are excited about this possibility. It will not only be good for wildlife, but it will also help protect homes and businesses near the beach. Happening now, this is a live look outside at our tower camera pointed at Daytona Beach. The clouds are rolling in and it's been a gloomy day outside, but WESH 2's Pamela Combe was out there today where many decided to trade the Black Friday deals for some choppy waters.
All right, now to Friday night hits. 2 high school football teams are working off that Thanksgiving turkey tonight.
WESH 2 Sports Director Darren Stoltzfus joins us live from Lake Mary, one of several regional championship matchups that we're covering tonight. Hey, Darren.
Yeah, hey there. I'm also trying to work off that Thanksgiving meal, so I'm happy to be back. Because now's when the football starts to get really good. It's gloomy, it's cold outside, but that just means it's later in the season. It's almost just your state championship hopes, if you're still playing now, the path is really starting to become clear. So you win tonight, you move on to the state semifinals, but this is a region championship game, and tonight here it's two rivals meeting for the second time this season. Seminole making the short trip to Lake Mary. Now, these two teams did play earlier this season, but it was on a Monday night thanks to some schedules being shifted around after Kane came through, and it was a 2-touchdown win for Lake Mary, 29-15. Now, that was a good measuring point for these two squads, but tonight when they meet, it's all going to be different, not only because it's in the postseason, it's win or go home, but also because of the deep running rivalry between these two. The context doesn't matter. This is a big one.
It's fun. The community's so close together, and a lot of kids, have siblings that went to one or the other schools, and cousins and so forth. So, yeah, it's like a family affair.
It doesn't hurt when you've played them 7 times in 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. It usually ends up coming down between the two of us.
So it's going to come down to the two of them in 7A Region 1 once again. You win tonight, the path to Miami, to playing for a state championship, that becomes very clear. You lose tonight, you're just eating leftovers, trying to figure out where it went wrong. This is one of several games we're covering across Central Florida tonight. It'll all come your way on WESH 2 News at 11. For now, Darren Stoltzfus live in Lake Mary. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Well, some tourism industry experts have predicted a slow year for Florida.
Still ahead, how we did in 2024 as we round the corner into December. Plus,
toys. Parents love to give them to their kids, but how do they know they're safe? I'm WESH 2 News reporter Greg Fox. I'll give you the key information you need to know to make sure you're making the right purchase.
about 3 billion toys and games are sold each year in the United States, a big chunk of them during the holiday shopping rush.
How do you know if the toys and games that you're buying are actually safe for your kiddos? WESH 2's investigative reporter Greg Fox gets advice that could spare your family a trip to the emergency room this holiday season. And another great source for information is PIRG, the Public Interest Research Group, which has lots of information online about the safety of toys and games as well. Very informational.
Yeah. All right, Marquise, let's talk about the weather. The great thing about living here is that we have something for everyone, usually in the same week.
Yeah. Sometimes even in the same day, to be honest. And it's crazy the difference that 24 hours can make here in Central Florida. Yesterday, we were all sunshine, rainbows, warm weather. Now, quite the opposite. It's been dark, gray, cloudy skies, rain showers, and much cooler conditions. Check this out. It's the 24-hour temperature change, and as you head further north, you're feeling the difference much more heavily. It's a 22-degree difference in Ocala from where you were yesterday as you were reaching for that second plate of food. Also, you're 22 degrees cooler in Palm Coast, and the reason why is that we're tracking a cold front moving across the great state of Florida, not only cooling you down, but also providing us with an end to our dry stretch of weather. Actually, I had to turn on my windshield wipers for the first time in a few weeks. We've been trending dry throughout the month of November, and now we are watching the rain for our north and westernmost communities. Just cloudy skies, though, as we check out New Smyrna Beach, but we will have rough surf conditions and high rip current risks all the way through the weekend coming up. You see that breeze from the north and the west down with 12 miles per hour. Likely tomorrow we'll see those winds elevate to 20-mile-per-hour conditions, increasing those wave heights, but temperatures, they are decreasing as we speak, and it's all because of this frontal boundary here. Now just a couple inches away from Miami on this map right now, but you see all the rain concentrated across north and central Florida on the backside of the frontal boundary. Here's where all the moisture is pulling in from, grabbing that Gulf Coast moisture and dumping it down all across central Florida. Here we are along the I-75 corridor from Ocala through the villages. Bushnell, you just had a wave of moisture push in from the west, and where that's heading is off towards the east. But here's where we've had our heaviest rain today, likely under ½ of an inch, right around that quarter-inch accumulation zone along I-75. But we've seen lighter showers to your east, and here's what's pushing across Ormond and Daytona right now from the west across the I-95 corridor through Volusia County, but in Lake County, Paisley, Sorrento. Here comes another wave of moisture, right? We talked about what's moving in from the Gulf Coast, and that's exactly what we're seeing through Polk City, Winter Haven, Point Siena, and Kissimmee. Lighter rain showers just south of the metro. As we take you hour by hour on Futurecast, it's going to be a little while before we finally squeeze out those last few drops of rain. It won't be until just before the midnight hour that we push all the rain offshore, and we'll be left with clearing conditions overnight. But our north and westernmost communities might wake up to some patchy fog as we kick off the day on Saturday. Actually got some college football, though, tonight. Showers will be clearing by 8 o'clock inside the metro as the UCF Knights take on the Utah Utes. And we'll be left with partly cloudy skies overnight. Temps should drop down into the low 40s and the mid 50s along the coastline. We mentioned the patchy fog to start off the morning, but we are sunny and dry all across your weekend. Warmer on Sunday as we finally tap back into the lower 70s, but it will be a short-lived stint. High pressure takes control of your work week forecast, but with that strict northerly wind flow, will be significantly cooler coming up, and it's a blast of winter air taking overnight lows into the lower 40s on Tuesday and Wednesday still to come. So I know we're looking at this forecast saying, hey, Marquise, we got a lot of sunshine coming our way. But unfortunately, the thermostat remains cool here in Central Florida. 63 for your high on Tuesday, still stuck in the 60s on Wednesday. Finally, we make it back to the 70s on Thursday, and we'll be right around your seasonal average as we finish off your certified most accurate 7-day forecast next Friday.
The closing bell on WESH 2 is sponsored by Todd Minor Law.
Happening now, holiday travel picks back up after Thanksgiving. This is a live look through our tower camera at Orlando International Airport. Close to 145,000 people are expected to pass through MCO today. The busiest day of the Thanksgiving travel period is expected to be this Sunday, Michelle.
And that busy airport means lots of tourists are here visiting parks and having fun and getting in some shopping. And some in the state's biggest industry were predicting a slow year for tourism. FunSpot says that may have been the case earlier this year with frequent rain putting a damper on crowds, but definitely not now.
We kind of went back into more seasonable temperatures, and that worked in everyone's favor here in the third and moving into the fourth quarter of this year.
As a response to the strong hurricane season, Visit Florida is now in the middle of a near $4 million digital, social, and on-air ad campaign called the Winter Impulse to encourage last-minute bookings. It could end up driving another record year. All right, we have more news coming up for you at 5:30, including the advice for first-time homebuyers.
The programs you should be looking into to make the most of your money. Also,
the holiday season is in full swing. How a local family has been supplying Christmas trees to Central Florida families across generations.
And a piece of art that made headlines after it sold for millions of dollars. What the new owner of this installation did with the artwork.
WESH 2 News continues.
A local Christmas tree shop is celebrating a special milestone this holiday season.
Despite the damage left behind in North Carolina from Hurricane Helene, the owner says they have a full supply of trees for families to choose from. WESH 2's Justin Schecker reports from Josario's Christmas Trees in Orlando. Josario's has a second Christmas tree shop location on Redbug Lake Road in Oviedo.
All right, well, there's not much to track in the tropics anymore because, of course, we're nearing the end of the Atlantic hurricane season. Yay!
Yeah, just a little over one day to go before hurricane season is officially over. Our First Warning weather team has been bringing you the most certified accurate forecast just to keep you and your family safe over the last few months.
Certified. Meteorologist Marquise Mina joining us now with a look back at the 2024 hurricane season. We'd like to forget about it, but you know what? It's important information.
Absolutely, and I think we were certified from the start. This is a graphic that we made back in the month of May before the season actually started, and what we predicted here on WESH 2 were anywhere between 16 and 20 named storms throughout the season. We had 18 actually, so we were smack dab right in the middle there in comparison. CSU and NOAA, they were leading on the heavy side, but we did have less named storms this season than we have in seasons past. Now, of those 18 named storms, 11 became hurricanes. We predicted anywhere between 8 and 10. and 5 became major hurricanes. Our prediction here at WESH 2 was anywhere between 3 and 5. So I'd say we were pretty spot on. Now, the 2024 season did include the heavy haymakers, Helene, also Milton, that made landfall here across the Sunshine State in the Big Bend area. But it wasn't just us here across the state of Florida that felt their impacts. We talked about the heavy flooding across the Carolinas. So all across the eastern coast of the United States, we were on watch this year, and it was one of the most damaging and also costliest years that we've seen. In comparison, in 2023, we had 20 named storms, but because it was an El Nino season, a lot of these were fish storms. Just 18 made a significant impact here across central Florida. In fact, this year was the second costliest on record, with over $220 billion and counting worth of damage here across the United States. So the key takeaways from this year have been emergency planning, increasing updates. That's something that we did do throughout the year with the early warning systems in place. And then also we are going to be taking a look at possible changes to building code, maybe even making infrastructure stronger so the damage numbers in years to come won't be this high. But as we continue across the next day, of course, the hurricane season is coming to an end, and we're ushering another wave of cooler air here in central Florida. I'll be tracking that for you coming up in the next 15 minutes.
All right, Marquise, thank you. And the storms that did the most damage this year in Florida were hurricanes Helene and Milton. Helene, which also caused extensive damage in North Carolina, is considered the deadliest storm to hit the U.S. mainland since Katrina in 2005. More than 200 people died. And then there's Hurricane Milton, which caused significant damage to our local counties. Earlier this week, FEMA extended the deadline for Floridians impacted to apply for assistance. People have until January 7th now to file a claim.
As millions of people across the country prepare to travel home after Thanksgiving, many will be met with bitter cold air, while other areas could be buried under feet of snow. Ivan Rodriguez breaks down what's on tap for this weekend. All right, new details on a $6.2 million banana duct taped to a wall and sold at an auction. The person who bought it took apart the art installation and ate the banana. He says it tastes, quote, quite good. The artist who made this created 3 editions of the artwork. The first 2 sold for between $120,000 and $150,000 in Miami back in 2019. I think I'm in the wrong business, Michelle. I mean, I could be an artist.
You could be. Also, I hope that's the last we hear of that banana. Like, I feel like we're all done with it now, right?
It's one expensive banana. It better taste good. What if you open it up and it's like rotten and you're like, oh my God, $150,000 banana?
It would just prove it's the same as all the other bananas. Not worth $6 million.
All right, one of the most iconic buildings in the world is about to reopen to the public.
The Notre Dame Cathedral was open to dignitaries today, which included French President Emmanuel Macron. Hundreds of workers have been reconstructing the cathedral since a fire nearly destroyed it in 2019. The mayor of Paris Center says Notre Dame is almost brand new.
And for the first time, it's been entirely cleaned up. And it's amazing. It almost looks disturbing when you enter there because you may remember a dark, almost Gothic church or cathedral.
The cause of the fire is still unclear, but investigators think some sort of electrical problem or even a burning cigarette may be to blame. The cathedral formally reopens to visitors next weekend. All new at 5 o'clock, Mexican actress and producer Silvia Pinal has died. Over her 60-year career, she broke barriers in theater and TV and even got into politics, winning seats in Mexico's government. She was 93 years old.
All right, still ahead tonight, the Florida housing market cooling down, and not just because it's off season for real estate, the other factors coming into play and the potential impact on buyers and sellers. And if you have a problem and no one else can help, contact the WESH 2 Investigates team. Questionable contracts, bad deals, or just outright rip-offs. Let the WESH 2 Investigates team look into your troubles. If you're willing to tell us your story, just email the details to investigates@wesh.com. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin. This is Kellyanne. She's your morning meteorologist and Central Florida's certified most accurate.
No matter the forecast, I've got your day covered.
Start your day with meteorologist Kellyanne Class and WESH 2 First Warning Weather.
The busy hurricane season here in Florida has resulted in the housing market cooling down a bit. A new report from Redfin shows pending home sales have slowed. And now that it's the holidays, you can expect it to be even slower. And depending on the type of home, it may take even longer to sell.
So it is happening all over, but I think in condos is when people suffer the most. I think it's as a single family, you have more options.
Real estate experts say there is hope that the new year will see home and sales improve, particularly if interest rates drop again. Now to a new Rawson Reports answering your questions, and you wanted to know what programs are out there for first-time home buyers.
That's right. Chief National Consumer Correspondent Jeff Rosen is sharing your options in this Rawson Response.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Let's talk about that weather, Marquise. You know, we've been warning people for days that it's going to be extremely cold next week, but you know someone's going to walk outside and be totally shocked about it.
That's why you got to check the forecast, right? But I will say it's creating a bit of a buzz. I just got an email from a viewer. They were like, hey, Marquise, when are we expecting the Arctic air to be here? Well, here it is, right? As we kick off your work week, back in the 30s in Ocala, 38 degrees on Monday, and then you're hovering, teetering right around the freezing level on Tuesday to kick off the morning, so you likely will have some frost on your windshield. Think about heading out to the car a little bit earlier just to get it started and defrosted, and we'll hold on to those cooler conditions all the way into the middle of the work week. Not record-setting temperatures for Ocala, but still right around that freezing level, 34-degree lows to start off the day on Wednesday. So definitely a cold stretch for us, but the rain in Ocala looks to have come to an end. The ground is still just a little bit wet, so take it easy if you're driving right now, but those showers are pushing east, and eventually they'll begin to fade before midnight, and then we'll start off the weekend with a shot here in Central Florida, but definitely much cooler conditions in the work week. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be even cooler. So if you haven't dusted off the winter jacket quite yet, you'll be getting your fair use of it over the course of the upcoming work week. So here's where we are just before 5:50. We've got the cold front stretching across the southern tip of Florida, but throughout the north and central portions of the state, that's where you have the most consistent rain showers. So from the I-10 corridor all the way down to I-4, we've been watching the rain throughout your afternoon, and we'll carry some of these showers into the evening. So we'll zoom in nice and tight. As we mentioned, showers are pushing east of Ocala right now, but if you're in Weirsdale or the Villages, you still have the overhead lighter precipitation. As we head out towards the east, though, across Flagler Beach, rain showers are pretty consistent for the moment, light in their intensity, but we'll pick up intensity across I-95 in Daytona Beach. If you're in Volusia County right now, New Smyrna, also we see these showers moving in from the west, and you'll be dealing with those as we continue into the early portion of the evening right now. But lighter rain does still persist across parts of Kissimmee as you head further south. Haines City and Polk County, you guys see the rain showers overhead right now, and we'll see those off and on again showers through 7, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock before precipitation off into the Atlantic. We're left with partly cloudy skies before midnight, and then clearing conditions to start off the day on Saturday. Loads of sunshine in store for us over the weekend, but we will have the chance for some patchy fog across I-75, where we've had the heaviest rainfall accumulation so far today. Morning temperatures on Saturday, those are back in the lower 40s across I-75. As you head towards the coastline, low 50s, so a little bit warmer as you stretch off towards the east. Either way, for your Gulf forecast, I do recommend grabbing the jacket, and of course your sunglasses. Still cool in the afternoon as temperatures are capped in the upper 60s in Orlando. We should stretch anywhere between the mid 60s and low 70s across all of Central Florida as we're much drier throughout the weekend and much cooler behind our frontal boundary as we kick off your work week. We talked about those temperatures dipping down towards the freezing level. Here's your coolest day of the work week. Lower 30s for Ocala, mid 30s for the Villages, Wildwood, low 40s for us here in Orlando. And we got a couple other mixtures of upper 30s and lower 40s across the board, across Central Florida still to come. So miles of sunshine across the next 7 days. No heat to be found, though. We'll drop all the way down to 42-degree lows on Tuesday, lower 40s still on Wednesday, and then eventually on the back end of your forecast, we make it into the 70s on Thursday and Friday.
Closed captioning is sponsored by New South Window Solutions.
New at 5, a group of killer whales has a new strategy to hunt the world's largest fish. The marine scientists have been studying the orcas, or how orcas catch whale sharks. They looked at 4 hunting events in the Pacific Ocean near Mexico. When hunting as a group, the orcas first plow into the whale shark at high speed, and then they flip the shark so it can't escape. The study is published in the journal Frontiers in Marine Science.
Happening today at Lou Gardens, Dazzling Nights returns for its 5th year. 1 million lights adorn the botanical garden for the holiday season, and this year the event is bigger than ever. WESH 2 was given a preview this week, and you can also spin in the snow and walk through a 70-foot tunnel decorated with ornaments. Dazzling Nights will illuminate Lou Gardens through January 5th. You can find ticket information on our website, wesh.com. If giving back is on your holiday to-do list, WESH 2 is making it easy for you.
That's right. WESH 2 Share Your Christmas campaign is back for its 39th year. And this Tuesday, Giving Tuesday, we're hoping that you will join us for our day-long telethon and online donation drive, all raising money for Second Harvest Food Bank. All the money that we raise stays right here in Central Florida, providing food and meals for children, seniors, and families who are barely getting by. Join us on Tuesday, both on air and online at wesh.com. WESH 2 News at 6 is straight ahead.
That's right. Here's what we're working on for our next half hour. Hundreds of shots rang out in a Volusia County neighborhood. The brand new video showing the moment deputies come under fire while trying to protect their neighbors. Plus, a push for protection on our Central Florida coast, how one county hopes to keep homes safe from future hurricanes.
Chase and Guy on WESH 2 News.